Imagine paying over $6,000 every single month for nursing home care with no idea when it's going to end. That's what happened to Mary when her husband John was admitted to Lawrence Street Healthcare Center in Tomball back in October of 2023. She trusted that somebody, the nursing home, the state, would tell her when she could stop writing those checks for $6,000 to the nursing home. But nobody ever did. Month after month, the money just drained away. By the time her daughter Emily called me, the damage was already huge. In this video, I'll share what happened, how we turned it around, and most importantly, how you can avoid this happening to your family. When John entered the nursing home, Mary wasn't wealthy, but she worked hard to build her savings. She had $66,000 in one retirement account, $13,000 in another, and about $44,000 in her day to day checking account. That's over about $120,000 in total. Not a lot, but it meant a lot to her. With $6,000 checks going out every month to the nursing home, those balances started to collapse pretty quickly. As I mentioned, they didn't contact me until December of 2024. He'd already been in the nursing home for over a year at that point. And by that time, those accounts had fallen to $38,000 in the retirement account and $16,000 in the checking account. And there was still $13,000 in the other retirement account. In just over a year, more than $55,000 of her life savings was gone. And the worst part was, she didn't even know she was close to the finish line. There was no plan, no guidance, just blind spending. Imagine the stress of losing tens of thousands of dollars and still not knowing if you'd ever qualify for help. That's the position Mary was in when Emily reached out to us for help. So when Emily contacted us to look at the case, we started by reviewing their finances. And when we took a look at those finances, the truth was obvious and a little bit concerning. Her father, John, was actually under the Medicaid asset limit since October 1st of 2024. That's months before they even contacted me. But nobody told him that. The nursing home just kept taking those checks every month and didn't think to tell him, now might be a good time to apply for Medicaid. Um, so we got involved and began working the case, filed the application. Now, because they didn't begin the process until January, Medicaid only goes back 90 days. So the furthest we could go back would be October, November, and December. Um, and we did go back for those months, and we did get John approved for October, November, and December, and every month after January. And one of the best parts is because of their income, their copay for nursing home care was $0 per month. That's right. Mary didn't have to pay a single dollar toward his nursing home care or medical expenses. Medicaid covered everything. So think about that for a second. Mary was writing $6,000 checks to Lawrence Street Healthcare every month, when in reality, she could have been writing no checks. He would have been fully covered by Medicaid if somebody had just been monitoring the case and given her a correct plan that she could count on, other than just keep writing these checks and one day they'll stop, maybe, when you run out of money. Um, so that's how much a difference knowing the rules can make. So in addition to John being Medicaid eligible back in October of 2024, there's another part to the story that's even more concerning. As a married couple, John and Mary never had to spend down like that in the first place. That $55,000 that I mentioned could have been completely avoided. There was a completely legal strategy available from day one that could have protected everything for Mary. If they'd come to me when John first entered long term care in 2023, we would have taken that money that would have been subject to the spend down and moved it into a Medicaid qualified annuity that would have paid the benefits out to Mary. The practical impact of that would have been that instead of spending down that money, the money that goes into the Medicaid qualified annuity is converted to income and protected, where it's not protected when it's sitting in a bank account. She could use that money for whatever she needed, her own living expenses, her financial security, her future. Medicaid still would have covered John's care completely, and Mary would have had an extra $55,000. This is why I say that Medicaid isn't just about getting approved; it's about getting approved the right way, with a plan that protects the spouse at home. Without doing that, families like this one end up losing far more than they should. So, what can you take away from Mary and John's story? First, don't assume the nursing home is going to guide you through Medicaid. Their focus is on providing care, not protecting your family money. In fact, they rather like to get your money because you pay more than the state does. Second, don't fall for the myth that you have to spend down until you're broke. That's one option, but it's not the only option. It's really not true for married couples. And third, the earlier that you get help, the more options you have to save what you've worked a lifetime to build. Now, Mary's story did end in victory. Medicaid coverage all the way back to October of 2024 with a $0 copay. But that victory did come at a cost, more than $55,000 that could have been protected if she had acted sooner. My hope is that by hearing this story, you'll know better and you'll take action before it's too late for your family. The biggest difference between the family that loses $55,000 and the family that saves $55,000 is who gets the best help the fastest.